Welcome to the Doctor Who recap. This video series will attempt to recap every single episode of Doctor Who from the classic era, including lost episodes, to the modern era. Marco Polo was the fourth serial of Doctor Who. This was the first occasion in which a famous person from history appeared on the series. It also saw the TARDIS act as a plot piece rather than something the travellers must return to once they have finished their adventuring. Marco Polo is perhaps most notable as the earliest and longest Doctor Who story, which is completely missing. Its first episode, The Roof of the World, is the earliest broadcast episode to be missing. As of 2022, no episodes exist in the BBC archive. The TARDIS crew have arrived in the snowy wastes of the plain of Pamir. The ship is damaged and unable to provide light, heat or water. The first Doctor, Ian, Barbara and Susan face the prospect of freezing to death as night approaches and the temperature plummets. Ian and Barbara go out onto the tundra to look for fuel, but Barbara sees a figure in the snow and they hurry back. Meanwhile, the Doctor has discovered what is wrong with the TARDIS, but is interrupted by Ian and Barbara's return. The creature follows them back and appears at the TARDIS door. The foursome chase after it, but are soon surrounded by Mongol soldiers on the verge of killing them for being evil spirits. A Western man, who turns out to be Marco Polo, interrupts them. Polo welcomes the Doctor, who is suffering from altitude sickness, and his companions to his company. He introduces some of his fellow travelers, including Tegana, a Mongol warlord. Tegana is a peace emissary from the Khan Noghay, who has been at war with Kublai Khan. A young Chinese woman named Pingcho is also traveling with Polo so she may meet her 75-year-old groom in her arranged marriage. Pingcho forms a strong friendship with Susan. The Mongols fear the Doctor is an evil sorcerer who is powerless outside the TARDIS, so Marco Polo forbids him from entering it until their party has stopped in a town at the edge of the desert. Here, Polo says the Doctor may fix his vessel. When the caravan stops at the way station in Lop, Marco Polo tells the Doctor he is requisitioning his flying caravan as a prize for the Emperor to attempt to buy his way out of his service. Meanwhile, the Lord Tegana is given a poison for the caravan's water supply by a man. Tegana tells the man he shall use it on the caravan's water supply when they cross the Gobi Desert. He then tells the man to follow them out, and on the third night, he shall walk back to him and they will ride back to Lop, wait for 2 days and go back to the caravan. He then says they shall take the thing of magic that will bring Kublai Khan to his knees. The travellers make their way across the Gobi Desert. The Doctor, in a show of petulance, refuses to come out of his tent when they settle for the night, distressing Susan. One night when Ian and Marco Polo are playing chess, Susan vents her frustration that they are stuck on Earth rather than exploring the stars. This spirit for exploring provokes Pingcho and Susan to follow Tegana as he walks off into the night. A vicious sandstorm, during which Pingcho and Susan are briefly lost, prevents Tegana from poisoning the goods. Instead, he slices them open in the night, knowing full well that bandits will get the blame. Marco Polo insists the caravan press on to the next stop, but the water rations grow lower as the days pass. Finally, Tegana is dispatched to find a fabled oasis. The Mongol finds the oasis easily and drinks from it. "Here's water, Marco Polo," he cries, letting his cup of water pour onto the sand. "Come for it." With the water supply completely exhausted, the situation grows desperate. The travellers only survive the arid conditions when the Doctor and Susan collect water which condensed on the TARDIS walls in the night. The caravan moves on to the next way station at Tunhuang, where stocks are replenished and they meet an incredulous Tegana, who rejoins their caravan. Pingcho makes their stay pleasant with the tale of Alaeddin, Aladdin, and the Hashishin, or assassins. Tegana slips away during the performance and makes his way to the Cave of 500 Eyes, where he is told by the Mongol agents Malik and Akamat that Noghay is assembling an army and marching toward Karakoram. Tegana tells Akamat, a bandit, to attack the caravan soon and kill Marco Polo and the others. Their plans, however, have been partially overheard by Barbara, who followed Tegana to the cave, though she does not realize the extent of Tegana's involvement. She is discovered and held prisoner by Akamat and Malik while Tegana returns to the caravan, feigning surprise when her disappearance is discovered. The doctor deduces that Barbara may be at the cave, gets the direction from a man named Chenchu and heads there, accompanied by Susan and Pincho. The doctor, Susan and Pincho find the cave and enter. Pincho finds Barbara's handkerchief and they all start to shout for Barbara. In the secret room, a Mongol holds a knife to Barbara's throat. Suddenly, Susan cries out, pointing to the wall where there is a pair of painted eyes moving. Marco, Ian and Tegana arrive at the cave after being tipped off by Chenchu. Barbara is rescued after Ian discovers the secret room. When the party returns to the caravan, Tegana tries another tactic. He tries to make Marco suspicious by telling him that Susan has an unhealthy hold over Pincho and the doctor has a second key to the TARDIS. This is countered when Barbara states that she was only in danger as she followed Tegana to the cave, but Tegana flatly denies ever having been there before. Marco stamps his authority on the caravan by separating Pincho and Susan, making them even more suspicious of Tegana. At the next way station, Tegana's plans are bolstered when he proves to Marco that the doctor has a second key to the TARDIS by getting Polo to witness the doctor leaving the ship. Polo seizes the key and tries to go in, but the doctor warns him that the ship will be destroyed if an unauthorized person enters it. He is taken away and held under guard. The caravan now catches sight of the Great Wall of Cathay. The route turns south to Lanchao along the banks of the Yellow River. At the next town, Sinju, Tegana meets with Akamat and tells him to attack the caravan 2 nights later, as they journey through the bamboo forest. Everyone is to be killed. Akamat goes to wait in the jungle for Tegana's signal to attack. To escape from Polo, Ian cuts through the tent and avoids the guard. His plan is to knock the guard out and allow the others to escape. However, when he reaches the front of the tent, he discovers the guard is already dead. Unwilling to leave Polo and his party to their fate, Ian alerts them to the oncoming danger. He wakes Polo, who wakes Tegana, and they begin to arm themselves. Ian decides it would be best to frighten off the attacking bandits by throwing bamboo into the fire to explode noisily. When the bandits attack, Akamat is slain by Tegana, as he is on the point of exposing him. The other bandits flee in fear. In thanks for their help defeating the bandit attack, Marco Polo allows Susan and Pincho to share company once more and permits the others to walk freely again. The doctor and his companions have worked out that Tegana is the source of many of the journey's troubles, but cannot make Marco Polo realize how dangerous he is. A new traveler arrives at the caravan, a message rider named Lingtao. He has traveled from Shangtu, which is 300 miles away, in just 24 hours, changing horses every 3 miles. He bears a message commanding the caravan to speed up, so Marco orders that once they reach the city of Chengting, the travelers shall all take to horseback while the TARDIS and the other belongings are brought on later. As ever, Tegana has another plot at the next way station. He meets an ally called Kuiju, and bribes him to try to steal the TARDIS while the convoy is split up and take it to Karakoram, where Noghai's troops are massing. Pincho knows where Marco has hidden the 2 keys to the TARDIS, and gives one to Susan to help the time travelers escape. Later that night, the doctor and his companions sneak out to return to the TARDIS and escape, but Susan returns to say goodbye to Pincho. As she returns, she begins to enter the TARDIS, but she is grabbed by Tegana. She screams. Ian leaves the TARDIS to convince Tegana to free Susan. Tegana orders the others out of the TARDIS and frees Susan only when the doctor returns the TARDIS key to Polo. Ian takes the blame on himself for stealing the TARDIS key to save Pincho. As the journey enters its final phases, Ian tries to ingratiate himself with Marco Polo again by telling him the truth about the TARDIS. Marco does not believe that the TARDIS can move through time, and says he knows Ian to be a liar, as he has deduced that Ian did not steal the key, and it was Pincho after all. Pincho hears this and, fearing detection, she flees the caravan. On finding her missing, Tegana and Ian offer to go looking for her. Polo says that Ian should go, as when they meet Kublai Khan, Tegana should be there. Ian finds her back at Chengting, having ridden there alone, which is just as well. While there he uncovers the fact that Kuiju has stolen the TARDIS from the second convoy. Back with Polo, Susan and Barbara confront Polo. They believe Pincho should not marry a man so much her senior. This provokes Polo to send Tegana after Ian to ensure he is not trying to liberate Pincho and make off with the TARDIS. Eventually, Polo's party arrives at Kublai Khan's palace. The Doctor initially shows belligerence towards Khan, but they soon bond over their great ages and the maladies that ensue. Before Khan and the Doctor go off together, Khan tells Polo that soldiers are swelling around their borders, so that it would appear that Tegana's information has been incorrect. Khan awaits the great warrior's return. When Ian and Pincho find the bandit Kuiju on the road to Karakoram, they force him to admit the truth, but Tegana arrives and brandishes his sword. Ian threatens to kill Kuiju, but Tegana says he is of no importance. Tegana approaches, slicing the air with his sword. He smiles sadistically. The standoff between Ian and Tegana is broken when Lingtao and a band of soldiers arrive. They kill Kuiju, but yet again Tegana talks his way out of a tight situation. The entire party agrees to ride onto the Imperial Palace in Peking. During the standoff, expecting Ian and Pincho to be killed, Tegana pledges his allegiance to Noghai. Meanwhile, at the capital city, the Khan engages the Doctor in a game of backgammon. The Doctor wins 35 elephants, 4,000 white stallions, 25 tigers, the sacred tooth of the Buddha, and the entire commerce of Burma for a year, but wagers all this on the liberation of his TARDIS and loses. The Khan presses Marco for the history of the magic caravan. The emissary admits he was wrong to try to obtain the vehicle, but he only did it to buy his freedom. The Khan is not impressed. He warns Marco that if he does not regain his trust, he will be banished from court. When Tegana returns to court, he convinces Khan that Polo has been defying the laws of the land by not confiscating the TARDIS and slaying the Doctor and his companions when they tried to steal it back. Ian and Pincho tell Khan that Tegana stated he is working for Noghai. Khan is not sure whether to believe them. He says it must be judged in a matter of the court. Nevertheless, events take a turn for the better for others. Pincho is spared a loveless marriage when she learns the elderly man she was to marry has passed away after drinking an elixir of life. Offered the chance to return to Samarkand, she instead chooses to remain with the Khan's court in Peking. The Doctor and his companions, now imprisoned, decide someone has to stop Tegana. They believe he is going to kill Khan to create an easy victory for Noghai's army. They attack their guard and break free. They meet Polo and tell him of their theory. Polo immediately runs to the throne room. Tegana has slain Khan's guards, as well as the Grand Vizier when he tried to protect the Khan, and is moving in for the kill when the Doctor and his allies arrive. Tegana is stopped by a lengthy sword fight with Polo. His mission failed, Tegana takes his own life with a spear rather than be killed by Khan's men. As the bodies are removed, Marco Polo hurriedly gives the Doctor and his party the key to the TARDIS and bids them escape. The magic caravan fades away before the eyes of the Khan and his courtiers. The Khan forgives Marco Polo and implies that he will be permitted to return to Venice. As Polo wonders where the Doctor and his companions are now, an image of the time travelers standing around the TARDIS console is shown superimposed against a star's cape.